How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of CityZilla Plays, and we are here in our new city, and I had asked for a city name in the last episode. We ended up landing on the name of Crater Lake, and I actually really like it because A, this is kind of a circular lake in the center of the city, and B, there's also this huge lake in the back, which actually kind of looks like it was from like a, I don't know, huge meteorite or meteor crashing into the earth, or maybe a volcano or something, and it has left this giant lake in the middle. And it's kind of funny because Crater Lake is actually a real place in Oregon, and it's this huge lake. It's actually very similar to this. You can go to it and kind of stand on the edge and look into the water, and it's actually really far down. But one of the cool features about it is that the water is so clean that it's actually dubbed cleaner than a lot of bottled waters. And so I remember being a kid going there and thinking it was just really cool. And so I think it's a fitting name. We're going to go ahead and change it and stick with it. So Crater Lake, and there you go. And so we have a couple things we need to focus on in this episode. A, we're going to reach 10,000 population. B, we really need to figure out which direction we're going to move in. So we have a few needs. We are having goods issues with some of these commercial buildings, and they're actually being abandoned for not having enough goods to sell. And it has to do with us building out the farming industry so early. And so as a result, a lot of these industrial buildings just aren't getting enough workers. And I think maybe because this industrial area maybe trumps this the regular generic industry. I'm not exactly sure how that game mechanic works, but so one of the things we need to do is get this rail line in. We really need to get a cargo hub in here somewhere, and we actually unlock the train at 10,000 population. Yep. And then so if we could get the cargo in, then we could alleviate a lot of these issues, because then they could put out orders for deliveries, which they can with the road. It's just not as quick, I believe, and so it does create some shortfalls with goods deliveries. And so with that being said, I was kind of playing around with this idea and then the freeway, and I think our city is a little bit too small to be able to fund anything like I was thinking with this right now. And so I think we're going to actually save the freeway project for a little bit later, just because this would be a multi-billion-dollar project. It would be really expensive, and so a budding city that has almost 10,000 population definitely wouldn't be able to fund that. And so I think we're going to pretty much leave this area to rest right now, and we are going to unlock another square. And I wanted to unlock that one because it gives us better access to this rail. It allows us to break it off and maybe swoop it down here and get it over to this side. And then we can actually create a forestry service, a forest industry area, probably on the next episode or the one after that. Not exactly sure, but it would be good. The goal is to have at least one industry area for all four of the types: the farming, forestry, and oil. We have a really big oil field right here, which is, I think, the largest in the map. Yeah, it is. And so I think this is where we're going to end up having to put the oil. And so we want to try to be mindful of that. We don't want to put residential too close to it, and we kind of want to leave it open for any like noxious externalities that may come off of the oil field. And then with this being forestry, it's actually going to open up an area for us to maybe put the train cargo hub, as well as maybe some other industry. And it'll be good because it is split from this one, and so we can kind of divide up the traffic a little bit, which is a good strategy you can use in this game. A lot of times with industry traffic, it's just because you make the industry area a little too large, and then trucks just have an issue coming in and out. And so let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to create another freeway entrance right here, and then we're probably going to build out some neighborhoods right here, because we need to bump up our population. I want to just kind of keep growing off the network that we have. We are going to have to change up the pattern a little bit just because the freeway does shrink it just a little bit, but it's not too much, and it ends up looking good. Alright, and so what I'm thinking for this area, we got a little bit of rain. You can kind of see it on the streets, making them a little slick. I'm going to keep the weather on for right now. I could turn it off, but I don't think it's really affecting our view, but go ahead and let me know if it does. I think it's cool to have the weather effects on. In the last series I didn't do it, and so maybe we'll just keep it on for this one. Maybe we'll turn it off. We'll see. And so I think what we're going to do is grab this main road so that we can create a couple entrances here. And then we're just going to do some neighborhoods with some access for emergency services. And this is something that you see a lot with neighborhoods. They'll create little gated streets where it's not a street intended for traffic. It's literally just there to where, like, if this road were blocked, you would have access for fire trucks or other emergency services. And I think it's really smart. You definitely see it quite a bit in neighborhoods and so. And the reason why we're doing it is because I don't want to connect up any actual connections to these, because then we're going to have people start using them and they're just a little too close to the freeway, and I just don't think it's that smart. And so we're going to go like that, and then we're just going to come across. I think we're just going to go like that, and then probably like that. I think that's a pretty good little network, and then we will just reserve the center for probably a park or something, and then we're just going to go off of this guy. And then what I'm going to do is go into Traffic Manager, come into Vehicle Restrictions, and then I'm going to keep pretty much all of them on except for trucks and personal cars. And so even if like a taxi does want to use it, they could. In real life, it would literally only be emergency services, like trash trucks wouldn't be able to use it or anything. They're normally gated to where the fire department would have a key. And so if they needed to get into the neighborhood, they could. They wouldn't be obstructed by the lack of access. And I think because we have, so we have 4 elementaries right here and 2 over there. I think maybe we'll place one over here, but right now we're actually pretty good. We could probably shut down 2 of these and then move them around, because I think having these right next to each other is probably overdoing it. And our high school access is pretty good as well. And we do have some pretty good public library access. I would like to put one in here too, so we're going to be mindful of that whenever we build out that area. And then let's go ahead and put in some paths before we forget and end up having to demolish homes. And there you go. And so now that, this is a pretty nice little area. We'll probably put down a couple little trees, maybe some palm trees, since we are in a tropical paradise themed area. We'll go like that. Oh, it didn't click. Yeah, there you go. I'll probably go like that. And we could upgrade those to dirt roads since the park is dirt. I think that'd probably be smart. Yeah, there you go. So now it blends in. It's almost like an extension of the park. I think that looks pretty good. I am just going to put in just a smidge of foliage in these little corners, though. Not a lot. Just, I think one's probably good. Yeah, there you go. I think that looks pretty good. I think having the palm trees may be a little out of place for it, but it fits in with the overall map, so we're going to go ahead and stick with it. Then we are just going to zone this guy in, and then we're going to do commercial around the outside so that we can provide access. And let's go ahead and do the paths again. We're not going to do gravel this time, and we are just going to follow the path network that we have already right there. So we will follow this guy down, follow this guy down. And the good thing with the emergency service access is pedestrians can still walk down there, so it's still some pretty decent access. I'm going to go ahead and connect that up there since it wasn't connected to the bridge. And I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and zone in some light commercial around the outside. I don't think we're going to get crazy with it. We're just going to go around, and then I'm probably going to leave these ones empty. Yeah, just because we could put more residential there, I guess. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do just a couple residential, and then we'll leave this back one empty since it butts up to the freeway, and it would be safe to assume that people wouldn't want to live there. And so I think that's smart. We definitely are going to have to probably put some sound barriers on this freeway. And then let's change the access for this, because it looks like this is kind of messed up. And it looks like we may have messed up our little bridge. Let's, I'm going to pause it and let's delete that guy real quick, and then let's see if we can just come in here and fix it. Yeah, there you go. For some reason it had created an overlay. It clipped that road a little bit. So there you go. Still got the crosswalks for pedestrians to cross, and that should fix cars are disappearing. Alright, and so after a little bit of finagling, I finally fixed it. Not really sure what the issue was, but for some reason, cars were just disappearing off the map. And so I ended up having to reset the game, and so now it appears as though the problem is fixed. But let's go ahead and watch this guy. Yeah, alright, so looks like it's fixed. I don't know if it's something with the map. It could definitely be, but you can kind of see there was just not a lot of cars on the road, and then it kind of was falling into these as well. These little side roads. This one and this one over here where traffic just wasn't allowed to come down. It was really weird. Like cars were getting off, and then they would immediately jump out of their car. Let's see if this one does it, and then kind of walk down the street. And so there was definitely an issue. Sometimes you get glitches in the game. It doesn't happen very often, but I'm glad we were able to fix it. And so let's go ahead and jump over to this guy. And I want to soften this up real quick. Just because we want a little bit flatter of a surface here. And then we are going to create another freeway entrance right there. But I think we're going to follow a similar pattern for this guy. We're going to come out, and then we're going to go like that. And then we are going to draw a very similar neighborhood style. I don't think we can go as far, but we shall see. Yeah, there you go. And then I just created this one in the back to be a little bit taller for us to put in some stuff. I'm going to soften this up again since we kind of got a little bumpy with those roads. And so now we actually have a pretty decently flat surface. And then we are going to add in those little side roads as well. And again, these would be, it kind of looks like that's off. I want that to be on the same level as that. Even though they're not connected, it still would be better if they looked a little connected. And there we go. And did that connect up properly? Yeah, looks okay. I think I'm going to go in here and actually remove that node. Yeah, there we go. And so that way it can be a little bit of a cleaner connection. I wonder if that was the issue over here. Nope. There is a crosswalk right there, though. That's interesting. I wonder if I think that's we had put one in for some reason. I wonder if that was part of the issue. There was a crosswalk there that just didn't make sense. But anyways, we'll come back over here, and I think we're going to put in a public library in this one. Maybe we could even put it on the side and then do a park on the opposite side. I think that could be good. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? We haven't used this park too much, and so I think this would be good. And then let's go ahead and put some paths around it. Yeah, there you go. We could even go like that. And go like that. I don't know how necessary that is, but it kind of does clean it up a little bit. I think we're going to put in just a couple palm trees as well. Whoa, we definitely don't need them, that many palm trees, but just put in a couple. One of the things I'd kind of forgotten on the last series was to decorate as you go. Just because you end up moving on and then you forget, and then a lot of your city ends up not really detailed, and it definitely looks better when you put in the extra time to make it right the first time. Yeah, there you go. I like that little space, especially for in a neighborhood. This would be a nice addition. And then let's go ahead and put in some paths. Nothing too extensive. We just want to connect up these little three-way roads. Make it a little easier for people to get around. And then we will connect this guy up, and we'll do the same on this side. That's why I left that little alleyway kind of gap in the middle of those residential, and then we can connect that up. And we could even, because we don't have access on this side, let's go ahead and continue that path just so we can get a little bit of symmetry out of it, but then also provide some nice access for these people. And so let's go ahead and zone this in. Or wait, no, we need to do water pipes first. Alright, so I think this new neighborhood actually looks pretty good. I like these two sections. I think if we put in a little bit of commercial around the outside, it would be good. Though we don't need to get too crazy with it. I think if we go like that, that would be good. Because then we have some nice shopping around and we provide that accessibility for these people. And let's go ahead and put some paths on this side too. Yeah, there you go. I like this whole layout. I really enjoy having the commercial down these paths. I think it's just so smart, and it really helps with traffic. And so I do want to continue on this grid, and then we probably will maybe branch across here as well. And I think we will expand this other side. I think what we are going to do is probably follow our pattern over here. Because we do, you know what, I totally messed up with this. We were supposed to do the tunnel. Because I want to continue on this road while we can. Yeah, there we go. And then that way we can come back over here, go back to our bike lane road, come in here, and then do our little tunnel, guys. Yeah, there we go. And that way this road can continue without crossing over that road. We are going to provide some more access with these crossroads, but I think for right now this is actually a pretty good setup we got going on. So let's come over here and we want to create another neighborhood. So we'll follow this guy. And then, so we were 5 out, I believe it's right there. Yep. So we'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, come across 4, then come back down, and then remember we do the 1 across. And I do want that to be level, so I'm going to go like that. And then we can come back over to our little 2-lane road, and I think we're going to follow the same pattern with these little squares. And so the square's up here in this corner, and so I think we're going to do the same on this side. And then we'll come back. And there we go. And then let's go ahead and throw in some paths real quick so we don't demolish people. And then let's put some in the middle. And there we go. And then let's connect up this guy. And let's go ahead and put in some on the sides as well. And the back. And there we go. And then let's go ahead and put in an entrance back here too, like we've been doing. Providing that access is just so important. And there you go. And then let's put in some water pipes. And there we go. And so we got a library right there. What are we doing with the schools? So we have, we could use another library over here. Right in here with this other stuff probably would have been good, though I don't think we have enough space. But let's go ahead and look at our elementaries. So we have those 4 right there, which I think are going to end up covering these. But I think having an elementary over here will probably end up being smart. Same with a high school. And so let's see about putting in an elementary and the high school, maybe on this main road. Maybe we'll actually create a little shopping center right here. We could do that with the school and maybe a little park and just create like a nice area for everything to be conveniently located. Or we could just put it on this road. You know, and I like doing the little service centers. I've done them in the past, and I think they look really good. So I think that's what we're going to do. Because I really don't want to mess up our commercial zoning too much. And then this is an easier way for us to add it in there. So there we go. Come up here. We'll probably just go too high, and then we will come over here. And there you go. And then we don't really need it to be too crazy. I think what we'll do is go like that, and then let's see about putting in the elementary and then the high school right next to each other. With maybe a park in the middle. I think that could be good. I think the small park will fit in here. Yeah, look at that. I think that's great. So now, like if parents had to pick up the kids, they could just go to one little spot and it would just be really easy for them. I'm going to go ahead and smoothen this out so that we don't have all these bumps. And there we go. And you know what? I think this little center looks pretty good. And we'll just put in some light services around the outside. So we could use another one of these. So we'll probably go like right, you know what? Let's try to be mindful with this. So maybe we'll come up here and then go like that. And we'll come up here and go like that. And then let's put in a couple paths. So I think if we go like right there, that would be good. Right there. And right there. And then let's connect this guy up. And then we will connect these two up. And there you go. I don't really like how this one's not lined up with it, but maybe we'll get rid of that. Yeah, I mean, they have access over here, so I think that would probably be good. And then let's go ahead and put in some of these guys. So let's actually put these on the main road instead of tucked in here. I think it would be smarter, especially since they're emergency services. You really wouldn't want them inside of like a closed complex like that. You would want them on the road. I do want to do some of these though. We haven't, so we did, it looks like a child health care over there. I don't even know how that guy, how did he end? I think that's definitely a mistake. I think we were trying to do a medical clinic over there and we ended up putting the child health care over there, which is not a great spot for it, but I think we want these to be kind of more, you know what, I think this spot right here is going to be good because they got the walking path right there. It's pretty conveniently located. And of course this one is a little bit bigger, so I think we will need to, we'll just put both of them in here. Yeah, because it's just, having this one by itself is going to be a little weird, and I think having them together would be really nice. And then let's come back in here and see about putting in our path again, though I think by putting that there, we might be a little stuck. No, you know what? That looks pretty good. I do want to fix these paths real quick. Yeah, there you go. I think that looks a lot better. Then I want to just put in a couple little palm trees. Nothing too crazy. Just kind of surrounding it. And then we'll put in some foliage. Because this would be like a nice little area. And parents would be dropping off their kids for school, or the bus would be coming. It would just be really nice. And we'll put in just a few of these little guys. Yep. Yeah, there you go. Nothing too crazy, but it looks good. And then we can put in either offices or commercial. I think having offices or something of the like in here would be good. We could do, let's do another cemetery with, we don't have the crematorium yet, but we could do the sauna. I think the sauna would be good. I don't think we'll be able to fit this guy. Yeah, he's a little bit bigger. Same with the community pool. But once we get the yoga garden, we'll be able to put that in. And then we have 0 offices at the moment, so I think putting in a few offices in here would be good. And I think what we'll do with this little opening is create a little fenced area. I think that would be nice. So you'd be able to see the school from the street. Yeah, like right when you came in, you would see the school, which would look really cool. Yeah, you know what? I think that looks pretty good. And then now we actually have a little bit of an office park, nothing too crazy, but still enough. And so our city is definitely coming together. It's going to take a little while for these to grow up, and so let's go ahead and let it run for a minute. And these will end up connecting in a second. Our residential kind of collapsed a little bit, which is kind of funny. We have this huge need for workers, and yet this just having some issues. Let's let it run for a second. Alright, looks like we have finally reached 10,000 population, small city. And this gives us a couple things that we really needed to get. Train, for one, because we need to do the cargo, as well as being able to just move the train line. We didn't have access to the actual train tracks. But then monorail, level 6 unique buildings, cable cars, some policies, high-tech housing, which is nice to have. It helps with raising land value, and it makes the homes and industrial a little more high-tech looking. And then it looks like we got cable cars as well, and just some exciting stuff. Big things though are the train, and then I believe postal service as well. I thought that was unlocked at 10,000, but maybe I'm incorrect. Let's go ahead and look at that. So post service, I guess we may have had it. I thought it was unlocked at 10,000, but it didn't say it, so maybe I had it wrong. No biggie though. So while this is growing out, I think what we are going to do is address our post service needs. As a budding city, having postal service would be pretty important, and so I think putting it over here in our industrial area would be smart. The sorting facility is kind of loud. You can see the orange circle around it. That's the noise. And so because we are having these abandonment issues, I'm thinking we could. No, you know what? It looks like it's a little too small. So maybe right here would be good. I would like to have it to where we could continue on that road though. So let's see about continuing this road first before we demolish this. So I'd really like to not create any weird little areas. And as much as I would like to turn this into a park or something, since it is right on the water, I think having this industrial area here kind of kills it. And so I think we are going to put the sorting facility right there. Let's go ahead and we can at least continue on this road. And so let's go over to our bike roads and come up here. We want the boulevard with bikes. Yep. There you go. And then let's see about putting this guy like that. Oh, you know what? That's so funny. I was going to try to build a bridge without even realizing that this line is right there. We can't do it yet. But it's alright. I'll go ahead and leave that there, and then we can just take that into account. So maybe we'll put it right here at the end of this one, because then we can kind of turn this into its own little space. Maybe a post-sorting facility space or something. I think maybe we will move the grid up a little bit. Let's go ahead and go like that, and then let's go 2 up so we can create the space for... I guess we were wrong. I thought it was 2 up, but I guess not. We were off on our math just a little bit, and then we will come up here and do that. And then now, as our need for industry does eventually rise, once we do level out with these residents, then these jobs will start to get filled up. Let's go ahead and look at the unemployment real quick. Yeah, I mean, look, so jobs available 7,000. So we still have a pretty big difference. It's like about 4, 5, 6, 7, 3,000 jobs available. And for a small city, that would be quite a bit. I think that's pretty good right there. And then let's go ahead and put a regular post office right next to it. And then let's go ahead and put a couple post offices around the city. We'll put one like right there, and then we'll put one over here in our new area. And then let's go ahead and put one in this area too. It looks like we got a little bit of a space in there. And then, so we got this place because we got 1, 2, 3. I think that would be pretty good for this size city. We could put one over here though too, just to kind of stay ahead of the curve, because I know as the city expands, Postal Service does kind of have an issue. Man, this is turning blue really fast. These guys are moving. But I think that's going to be good. So now our city has Postal Service, which is super important. And our new area is still growing up. It's looking good. And we did zone it all in, correct? Yeah, we did miss a couple spots. So we could actually go right there, and then we could put in another park again. Not a little too big, though we could probably try to squeeze that one in. I think there just might be an issue. So I think that looks pretty good. And then this does not have commercial around it. We don't have a huge need for commercial at the moment, so I think maybe we will leave that empty. But I really like how this whole center came together with the elementary school, the high school, the little park in the middle with the playground, and then we got the elder care and the child care. And then we kind of left it empty around the outside, though we probably will end up putting in commercial. We'll definitely end up putting commercial around this side. But I think for right now it's probably good. We don't have a way other than this back entrance for these people to get in over here, though. Which that would be pretty bad. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll do that. And then we can actually get rid of these. And then let's finish our little path down the middle. Since I thought it looked so good before, we would definitely want to try to continue that. Yeah, there you go. I think that looks pretty good. And then we'll just have to figure out something to do with this side, because we are going to be expanding over here. And initially I was thinking we would do some low density over here, and then as we move closer to the shoreline we would do high density. But I really want to do another 2-lane kind of boulevard cutting across here and then leading into our downtown, which is going to end up circling Crater Lake right here. And so I do want to start painting down some districts, though. I think we only have this guy, so I want to come in and we'll say maybe from right here to right there. We'll come down here, we'll paint this guy. And there you go, that's like one little neighborhood right there. And let's go ahead and see what name it gives us. So Hillside Heights. If you guys want to come up with something cool for that, Crater Lake, maybe volcanic or something to go with the map, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. We're going to go and make districts of all of these. Districts are really important in this game. They help with certain policies like the high tech that we just recently unlocked, but then also a lot of policies that you end up unlocking later on. And there we go. Wham, bam. Perfect. And so we have our districts now. And so it looks like we have Mulberry Park. We have Hillside Heights, Vermont District, Spruce Heights, Underhill Square, and then Evergreen District. And then we will end up painting this its own district since we are going to do something special with this. And I was kind of thinking about doing some trams. I think if we turned the big road into tram tracks or tram roads, it'd be really cool to do like some tram stations here in the middle and then maybe add an inner city bus station so that we could get the inner city bus coming into the city. And it kind of provides some access, but then this would be kind of a smaller transfer terminal, and then we would end up creating a big one over here, maybe around the downtown district, kind of wrapped around this guy. Because I think we'll end up having a second downtown over here, maybe like 2 cities. So like this will be Crater Lake, and then this will be like Crater Beach, or I don't know, something really cool. Because I think this whole area right here, especially with this little island, just looks really pretty. Like I can imagine like some condos and just really big skyscrapers, like something straight out of Miami or something. Bunch of boaters and like jet skiers out in the water, especially with the river kind of dumping in. And then I still think for this side we're going to end up creating a couple more canals, though we probably will end up damming this one off and possibly the rest if we decide not to go the ferry route. But I think by putting in ferry access around, it's going to really help us to leverage these canals and the accessibility to the water, and it would just be something that would be smart for the city to do, and I think something you would see in real life. Water taxis. We got 10,000 population. Let's go ahead and work on the train real quick because this is very needed. And so what I want to do is create a cargo hub. So let's come up here and draw this road in real quick. So I think what we're gonna do is go like this. I think this is a little bit farther away than what I was initially planning. But I think it works like that, so we may end up changing that. Maybe we'll get a little closer to the freeway. That's what I was initially planning, but we are going to end up extending the freeway out this way, so maybe having it a little further out would make more sense for right now. Having this curve like this, I was kind of hoping that was going to be more in line with that, but I think it's alright. It's not the greatest, but it works. Works for our purposes, and so we have that, and where could we put this cargo terminal? I wish we could put it over here, but I think having it go underneath the freeway right away probably isn't the most realistic of approaches. But let's just put it down real quick, and then we can draw in the line, and then we can always move it back. So maybe we could just put it right here. You know what? I think that actually might be smart, because then we can make this little section right here like a mini industrial area. With it having access to the freeway right there and right there, this would be a pretty good area, and it's kind of close to the freeway, so it'd be easier for the industrial to be there than residential or something like that. The goal ideally is to have multiple cargo hubs, and so this would just be one of many eventually. And so we ideally probably don't need it to have that much of a space, but early on it can be an issue, and so now let's go back here and turn these into bridge pieces. We can actually terminate those right there, and that's actually already a bridge piece, so that's good. And then let's see. Oh, this one's actually not bad. We just need to shift this guy over and do a little page down action. There we go. And then let's come over here. Hey, you know what? It looks like that's just a little off. Yeah, I didn't see that before. So we are just going to shift this over. Honestly, this thing's so wonky, it probably would be better to shift this anyways. This whole... It's funny because this is one of the first maps. They just they weren't built very well. Like, you can kind of see these curves just aren't the greatest. That's one of the main reasons why we're going to end up deleting this. But for right now, we're just going to keep it. Alright, and so I'm just going to come into the network multi-tool, just kind of clean this up real quick, make sure our grade's not too extreme. Like, you can see that 11.5%, so we would just want to knock that down to 0. And unfortunately this one, because we do have the bridge, we really don't have too much room to play with. But I think we can actually just knock this down a little bit. So Control H, then we'll go Control H, and then that way we can come back in here, go into the slope tool, come through here, and then drop that down. I mean, 5.7 is still pretty steep. It would be kind of hard for a cargo train to make it up this. Maybe we'll actually go into a tunnel, because that we are pretty low already, and so I could see that being a more viable option. Yeah, you know what? That worked a lot better than what I was initially thinking. That's kind of funny. It raised it up so much over here. I wonder if we can just come back in here and turn this into... The ground piece. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. And then, so the tunnel is actually a little more realistic there. But I like how this turned out. I think this is smart, and it now provides some nice cargo access for this side, which is going to be really great. And let's just put down our priorities real quick so that people aren't stopping on the main road. And then let's come in here since this is going to be a little bit up. Looks like we already got it set up. And so now, ideally, what's going to happen now that we have that, we shouldn't run into goods issues as much over here. Though I honestly don't know if we were having that issue anymore. But it's always good to have a cargo hub, especially once your city expands and you have multiple. The city will actually use cargo to transfer cargo within your city, which is great, instead of having just more trucks on the road and pollution and all that stuff. And so, but it looks like our new areas have grown up pretty good. Let's see. Oh yeah, they're already almost level 4. Do we have services over? Yep, we ended up putting those services over here, and then we did end up putting the school there, and we created a nice little area here. Though I'm kind of wishing that the industrial would grow up, but I think again it's because we built this area, not the industrial, the offices. I think once we put down our first college, then this whole area will expand. I think by having this rail line kind of tucked into a ravine like that is really nice. And so I think that's going to be it. On the next episode, we are going to work on cultivating this side, and then we are going to build the park and maybe even dive into transportation. We are getting up there in population. But we have a couple expansions that we need to do. We need to either move this way or this way, and so I think oil field and then possibly some neighborhoods as we move up this way. And we'll probably build out a forestry area, especially since we just put that cargo hub there. And so we have a lot on the table. But yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next episode.